morning. Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, again, my name is Kyle Wegener, and I am a co-founder and a CTO of Bibe. So a little background about myself. I am a St. Louis native. I was born, raised, and graduated here in computer engineering. And then after college, I went into the tech industry, working with artificial intelligence and big data. And then also, as some of you know, being a professional in the workplace, when I went out of college, there's a lot of stressful days. And on those stressful days, sometimes on those extra stressful days, a beer is typically calling your name. So when this happened, a couple coworkers of mine, we went out and to blow off some steam, went across the street to this bar. And when we went across the street to this bar, why we chose it, I don't know, but when we went in there, there was it was always extremely packed, long lines, terrible, terrible service. And when I went in there, I found that my stress levels weren't always going down. And not necessarily that because of the long lines or the terrible service or that the alcohol wasn't working, but it's because that as a data scientist, I was seeing a lot of inefficiencies being ran in this business, and especially where big data could help. And talking to a colleague like this, we actually both agreed, and we entered into the I-Corps program. And those who don't know what the I-Corps program is, it's basically evidence-based entrepreneurship, where we have to actually go out and talk to people and interview. And what we found from these interviews, we think is something of a lot more value to the restaurant and bar industry. So the question is, what do we find? And so when we went out and actually interviewed these bar and manager owners in restaurants and breweries and distilleries, we found out they weren't always really happy to talk with us. And not necessarily that because they were upset with us, but it's because they have a lot of time, or they don't have a lot of time to actually talk to people, and mainly that they have a lot of things going on in their mind. They have a lot of things actually happening. And going on. They have a huge list of problems. And we found out from these lists of problems, two things always stayed consistent, and that was employees and inventory. No matter what owner or manager we went to in this industry, they had never hesitated to tell us about all the problems they were having with underperforming employees, basically scheduling those employees over or under ordering food or inventory checklists, and then even doing sales reports. And in addition, from all these problems, the actual tools out there to alleviate these pains are spread across numerous applications. And from each of these applications, they all kind of cost a pretty penny in themselves, which together add up to a significantly large bill, which these business owners know this is not a cost-effective way of running their business. So, and also, we also found that young owners really know that their business produces data, and they know the value of this information. And unfortunately, though they want to get their hands on this data, there's not really an efficient way to get this, and they're looking for options. So we've done a lot of problems, but how do we fix this? Well, what if I told you that we could turn a business's receipts into new customers, better employees, and superior inventory management? So and what if I told you we could do this actually all from one single application? So this is what Bibe is actually working to do, and this is what our team is actually building to actually achieve. That's gonna be fun. So this is what Bibe is actually going to achieve. So this is what we're working for, but this is neat, but how do we actually do it? And the first thing we do is we tie into the point of sale system, the register, where all the information for the business is actually stored. And from this information, we're able to learn a lot about the business, and that is their habits, what they're like on good days, what they're like on bad days. And essentially we get to understand the business's personality. The second thing we do is that we crowdsource information from the web. Once we know this business's personality, we're able to understand what the steps are to take from the information on the web. We're able to take exactly how businesses in other areas with the same personality overcame these issues and challenges. So therefore, we're able to incorporate that into our platform. Sorry, I'm off the sideline. So yeah, crowdsourcing that information from the web and basically bring this into our platform. So finally, we're able to really give those bar owners that raw data and present them that information, what they wanted. We're also able to analyze it and process it so we can show them inventory trends as well as help them generate those sales reports that they absolutely do not like to prepare. And then second, we also are able to produce steps to help them improve their business wherever they see fit. If they want new customers, if they want to actually understand what their inventory is doing, or if they just want to find out how to improve their employees' performance, we're able to, from this information that we're sourcing from them and the web, create those steps to actually improve their business in a very 1 through 5 kind of step way in English, plain English. So that's what Bibe aims to do. So what about the cost? Well, we also, during these interviews, found out that bar owners really don't like it when all they need is one feature to improve their business. They're actually charged for a large fund full of things that they don't need. and these are held at these are actually have lots of features in them, and those extra features are held at a hostage for a higher price. We kind of found out that we want to put Bibe wants to move away from this and put the power back into the customer's hands. We want to take out the services and those features and let the customer actually decide what they want to actually buy. And what they actually want and need. Why charge a business for a feature that they don't want or solves a problem that they don't have? So we feel like from the software that we're currently developing to alleviate these pains, as well as this cost structure that we're putting the power back in the customer's hands to alleviate cost, we found a business idea that's worth exploring and a concept to actually bring into reality. So that being said, we are currently only in concept phase. So right now we're just kind of exploring exactly what we want to do. We're going out there interviewing, talking to businesses, seeing what they want, seeing what they don't want. But we are currently moving quickly into prototyping phase. For our timeline, we've integrated into our first POS system, point of sale system, the register, last week, and we're pulling that data in our algorithms that we've developed are learning every day. Within Q3 or Q4, so late 2018, early 2019, we want to actually release our alpha phase and then beta phase to follow close behind. So from you guys as a community, formally we're looking for marketing, sales help, as well as money for development, like we all are. But also, from the community, we're also always looking for feedback. We're also looking for criticism and just see where you guys think we need improvement to help us grow as we continue down this pathway. So that being said, the team that's helping us design all this, myself, like I said, I'm Kyle Wegener, the CTO, Aaron Vonderhaar, who's the CFO, and Scotty, who's our VP of Sales and Networking. And then Quentin, who's been a great mentor in helping us realize this business idea into reality. And that being said, again, Kyle Wegener, and I'll take any questions.
All right, who wants to kick it off for Kyle? Come on, my fabulous question askers. All right.
Can you talk a little bit about how you met your team and, I don't know, kind of to follow that on, is this, how do you plan to grow this business? Is this something you want it to be a lifestyle business or something you want to grow and sell with that team, and how do they feel about it?
Sure, yeah. So how we met our team, basically we all went to college together, and we're all engineers, and so, and we're all kind of beer connoisseurs, per se. So when we all did go to this bar, we all realized the inefficiencies of this bar, and so we all talked about it. We are always interested in entrepreneurship. So together with interested in helping out the bar and restaurant industry and our love for entrepreneurship, that's how the team kind of formed. As for where we really want to take the product, we really do want this to become, so one of our VP of sales, he is actually a bar owner, and he's really interested in bringing this kind of technology into light to help his own business as well as other businesses around. He knows as a bar owner, all these inefficiencies are really hurting his bottom line and really hurting how he runs his business. So we want to take this product, turn it into something cost-effective and cheap that we can bring out to the bar industry and really just kind of take the bar industry to the next level.
Okay.
Great presentation. Data scientist as well. So given what you just said, with point of sale data, you can get obviously financial data, geographic, probably temporal as well, like time to day and stuff. Have you thought of creative ways of actually getting true demographic information other than just like reputation of the establishment?
Right, so demographic data as in like customer data?
Like a referral program or rewards program where you actually have like an age and maybe an ethnicity and that kind of stuff.
Right, there are some POS systems that for bars will actually scan your ID in order to see if they're 21. And when they do scan your ID, they actually take that information and produce demographic information. So that's one thing we do want to keep in mind. Right now, though, as we're a young company and still concept-based, we really want to focus in on employees and inventory where we see those two problems and then expand our vision to demographic data and other data in order to help that business. So that is definitely in mind. Thank you.
Coming.
Yes. What POS system are you integrating with currently in concept, and what's your plans for relationships with POS systems?
Sure. So right now our technology is actually able to be integrated into 18 different POS systems. Right now we are, our first POS system we integrated into is Micros. We're also able to do the other popular ones such as Aloha, Square, etc. So definitely keep expanding. There are a lot of POS systems out there, so we want to keep expanding, bringing in those other POS systems so we can take on more clientele. So it's always on our mind.
On the same line of POS systems, are they possibly, like, can they be possibly your customer actually, than the individual bars per se?
That's a great question. That is one thing we're also exploring. We've only talked to 1 or 2 POS companies, but we do know that a lot of people want that data analytics because that is a big thing that's upcoming in this industry, and POS systems don't really offer that yet. So this is a potential tool that a POS system could integrate with in order to provide that data analytics that businesses are looking for.
I know you're so early, but I'm curious if you have, there are other startups and other companies out there that are in similar space trying to solve similar pain points within the bar and restaurant industry, and I think are struggling as evidenced by the fact that they weren't using, a lot of them still aren't using them. They're struggling to get traction or get adoption. Do you have any insights as to what that is, or why there's still a lot of bars and restaurants with all these inefficiencies and all these sort of companies that really want to help them?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So we found out that when we go to these bars and actually talk to them, when we ask them, okay, how do you do your sales reports, or how do you know what to order, like how do you do your analytics essentially? And they're like, Excel. Why not do Excel? Or even better, or even worse, pen and paper. So they do this because they like the graphs they make. The people who make those complicated graphs, the only person who really likes that is the person who makes it, and those are those bar owners. And so what we want to do is not actually make the graphs necessarily for them, because we found out that's kind of where a lot of data analytics companies fail, is that people don't want to look at these complicated graphs. They want their data, or better yet, they want action items. They want actually something they can do with the data. They don't care about graphs so much, they can make it themselves. So what we want to do is skip that portion, give them the raw data that they have easy access to, and then skip over the graphs and go right to action items. Give them those steps to actually improve their business where they want to improve. So that's kind of where we're looking at our vision in order to kind of gain more traction in this kind of area.
Yeah.
Can you talk about competition? What does this space look like generally, analytics in the bar space?
Sure. So there are some competitors that are out there actually already providing POS analytics. We've identified a couple competitors. But again, when we actually went out and interviewed about these different companies, that like, how do you like them? Why aren't you using these? It kind of goes back to Melissa's questions that these analytic companies are providing these complicated graphs with their information in there, and the bar owner just doesn't really care about it. They like them. They like, oh, this is really cool. This is really going to help me. But it's kind of like someone taking on a New Year's resolution of going to the gym. They're like, oh, this bar is really going to help, or these graphs are really going to help my bar. But eventually, 3 months later, they get tired of it and move on. And that's because they don't provide action items. They just provide a little bit more insight to their bar, and eventually they get tired of it. So that's where we find that we're kind of trying to be different from those competitors and moving on to a space for those action items.
Can you talk a little bit more about your business model? Like sort of, again, I know you're early, but what thought has you put around just how you're going to make money? Like what's your price structure, or what kind of?
Sure, so that's more of Aaron's expertise, but I can talk a little bit to it. He's probably going to be like, yeah, like you're
It's not like a video of everything. Oh yeah, we are. Never mind.
So like we said, kind of with our cost structure, we want to move away from the package deals. We don't want to do that tier system that a lot of companies like to do. We want to let the bar owner pick and choose what they want. And so from that, we've decided that we're going to go as low as we can go in order to still make profit. So let them choose those packages. So we're looking at, right now, I think the financials were between 25 and 50 for our first initial package. And then moving on there, they can build upon the package they want for a little bit lower price and continue to go in there. So that's kind of what our cost structure is. Again, we are really young, so we don't know exactly everything set in stone. We don't know in depth our financials. But we are starting to identify that. And that's actually our next steps we're working now.
Have you thought about targeting your market much tighter than just restaurants and bars? Like, let's just talk to microbreweries and see what kind of stuff we can do for them. The other thing is that your packages, if you're getting information that bar owners like graphs, give them the graphs and then give them something else as well. Give them the more useful stuff. So you give them something they're used to and then you give them something more that's more useful. That way you can cover your younger folks and your older folks. But mostly, have you thought about targeting your market more specifically?
Yeah, so originally when we started the iCorp program, we were doing a completely different concept and pivoted. So our main focus was on bars and just bars because one of our people in our group is a bar owner. So specifically, that's what we interviewed with was bar owners, bar managers. And so that's kind of how we built the package. As we expanded our view to breweries and distilleries and as well as restaurants, we found out that a lot of things that bars wanted where it wasn't common with restaurants. So technically, why our logo is a beer bottle and why we like to talk about bars a lot is because our main focus right now is on improving the bar efficiencies. But it just turns out we can't actually expand to restaurants and other industries with these package things.
Do you think you could take these principles of your business and apply it to other startup businesses other than bars and restaurants?
Yeah, we believe since we can tie into POS systems, any industry that uses a POS system, a point of sale system, we can really tie into if they want to do those analytics, such as coffee shops. You could even go down to, I guess if your auto shop, your local auto shop has a point of sale system, you can even do analytics on that. Package deals might look a little different from there, but you can definitely expand this into the future into other industries.
Yes, talking back to your pricing model, and briefly you spoke in the beginning about how difficult it is to get a one-on-one with these bar owners. Have you thought about offering like a trial period for your packages? And that's sort of like a free trial, like free 6-month trial to let these bar owners see if yes, this is something I need. Have you thought about any kind of free trial period?
Yeah, absolutely. And that I feel like is going to come more to light during our financial period right now that we're in to understand how we're going to do our pricing cost structure. So a free trial always gets people on board a lot faster. So that's definitely one thing in the back of our minds to actually offer to the
And sorry, so follow up, do any of your competitors offer free trial periods that you know of?
So the question was, do any of our competitors offer free trial periods? And I believe so. One of our main competitors in Kansas City, who also do POS analytics, they offer like I think a 30-day free trial. So again, that's another thing just adding to it of why we should actually do that free trial kind of period. Yes.
So you're all engineers, you said.
Yes.
Are you working full-time and this is something you're doing on the side?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Just wondering how many hours you're putting in each week to develop this business. And are you prototyping like I don't know all the, I know you're collecting the data and I got the math, some of that math part, but you're just in the prototype stage part right now?
Sure. So to address your question, so yeah, we're all engineers, and in the daytime we all have full demanding jobs, but in the nighttime, myself doing the technology, I work completely part-time. Right after I get off work, I come here to the T-Rex or I go to a coffee shop and I just continue to prototype, and then I throw sleep whenever I can actually schedule it in there. But essentially, I'm working at least 20 hours a day, or not 20 hours a day, I wish, 20 hours a week on this kind of project, moving it forward to the prototyping phase. So eventually we can actually move it into a business that people will want to throw money at and make it into an actual business that we can actually work on full time.
Just a quick question on maybe a different angle if you haven't already thought about it. Have you went to talk to like Blazer or major brands or any of the big distributors that might be able to say, you know what, we got this guy over here that's doing this and partner with them?
Yes, so we actually talked to a lot of distributors when we were actually realizing this concept. And we also realized that the distributor area between the bar and the brewery is extremely inefficient. And so we kind of do want, in the future, to envision a product in which we help with analytics and inventory, since we are working already with the inventory, somehow to make that process a little bit more efficient and a little bit more streamlined for the distributors. So to answer your question, yes, absolutely. And they're really interested in seeing where this product can go and seeing how they can help, how we can help them.
And use their marketing channels. I
Awesome.
said, and use their marketing channel. You know, like if you get,
Exactly.
let them do what they do well, and you do what you do well.
can you talk a little bit more about your concept phase? Like, what are your current objectives? Who are you currently working with? What have you found out? Has anything changed? Something like that.
Sure. So actually, I mean, a lot of things have changed. Like I said, we went to the AgWorks program, and what we wanted to do originally was it is a concept called self-pour beer, where you go and pour your own beer, kind of changing the beer drinking experience. And we found out no one really wanted that idea, so we completely pivoted. And so going out and actually interviewing, talking to these people, we found out these problems. Like I said, inventory, employees that everyone wanted to complain about, and that's how we kind of came up with this concept. This is not at all what we had originally envisioned, like whatsoever. But it's what we were led to, and that's kind of what, and we finally identified this is what people are really wanting right now in today's day and age, and this is why we're going down this path.
And that's such a great learning thing, you know, that you need to crowdsource your idea to people that aren't going to just validate it because they're your friends. So get out and actually talk to your customers, and then you realize you might be solving the wrong problem.
Right. A lot of criticism.
Yeah. Other questions for Kyle? Oh.
What does your name mean and how does it tie into what you do?
At first, I thought you meant my name. Like, my name's Kyle. It's just so our company name is Bibe, and that was off the word imbibe, which means to drink. So we said imbibe. Well, we can't do imbibe because it was taken. We tried imbibe. It was already taken. So we were like, okay, you know what? Cut off the end. Let's call it Bibe. So that's where our name kind of came from. So just off of drinking and like with the bar and restaurant kind of industry, that's where we were led to.
All right. Well, we always like to end with the question, what can the community do for you? You touched on it a little, but anything else you want to add?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, I really touched on everything we need. Marketing, sales, and money for development is really our main concerns. But I guess as youth community, now that we just joined at 10 on Tuesday, we're just kind of getting more and more immersed in this kind of, in this.
You joined I-10 on Tuesday, were asked to present 1 million cups on Wednesday, said yes because...
Yeah, it's moving really quick, yeah.
If you were here last week, you remember I was like, okay, come back next week for a mystery presenter, because we had someone shift. So thank you to Kyle for like saying, yes, we will come and we will get feedback really in the early stages of our company. So anyway, cut you off. But
no, it's fine, absolutely. We're really happy to be asked to present. And yeah, so really just from a community from you guys that we're really just starting to grow with, like we said, just good criticisms. We're not afraid to hear your complaints, your thoughts, your thoughts of where we can actually improve. And so those things really help us, and we'd really like to hear that. And if you want any feedback from us about your ideas, we're always open to hear new and interesting ideas. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Great job.